Hi everyone, it's time for the message for young disciples. So today we're going to talk about Joseph, the story of Joseph. And this is not Joseph, the father of Jesus. This is not Mary's husband. This is a Joseph that came way before, a long time before in the Bible. So the story of Joseph's father, his name was Jacob. And Jacob had a ton of sons. And Joseph was one of the youngest. He was the second to youngest. And so Joseph had a lot of older brothers. And in the family, everybody said that Joseph was Jacob's favorite. So they said, oh, Joseph is dad's favorite, which is not really true. Parents don't have favorite kids, but in that family, that's what the brothers said. And as they grew up, the brothers ended up doing pretty annoying and mean things to Joseph because they were jealous of him. So at one point, they even kicked him out of the family and off their land, which was a pretty mean thing to do. Fast forward, so Joseph kind of spent a lot of his life away from his family because his brothers kicked him out and they were really mean to him. And then one day, the brothers needed help. Their land had no food on it. And so they went to Joseph and they asked him for help. They didn't even recognize him at first because he had grown up and he was off in another land and he was wearing different clothes. And he was in a position of power where he could actually help them if he wanted to. So they went to him and they really pleaded. And Joseph had to do a lot of searching inside himself in order to forgive them. But ultimately, he forgave them and helped them. And they recognized that this was their brother who they were being super mean to. So we're going to just learn a little lesson that's going to help us connect this story to our virtue of the month, which is awe. Now, Joseph's brothers were really jealous of them. Have you guys ever heard that word, jealous? It's when you see someone else who has something that you want. And that could be like they're better at a sport than you, or they have a cool lunchbox or backpack or clothes, or they seem to be like the teacher's favorite or the coach's favorite. And you start to get a little bit angry and upset because you think that they're better than you in some way. And that makes you upset. And this is something that we all feel in our lives because we start to worry that we're not good enough, that somebody else is better than us. And that's not true, but we all feel it. So it's very normal to feel, and it just takes working with a little bit. So when this happens to you, and this is how Joseph's brothers felt, right? They were really jealous of him because he was dad's favorite, and they ended up being really mean to him. So when you feel jealousy, maybe you can think of a time when that happened to you. Instead of feeling like you want to think mean thoughts about the person, it's time to get curious about what is actually good about the person. What can I focus on that I can really appreciate in the other person? What can I focus on that's really good about the other person? And practicing the things in them that are beautiful. And this is awe, right? It's our virtue of the month. It's when we see something and we think, oh, wow, that's really cool, or that's really beautiful. So the next time this happens to you, you can just take a moment. You can close your eyes or take a deep breath and say, okay, instead of thinking mean thoughts, let me ask myself, what is there about this person that I can feel like, oh, wow, that's really cool and that's really beautiful. That's something really beautiful about them. So let's have a prayer. Dear God, please help us to know that we are enough. We are always good enough just as we are, and to look at other people with kindness and respect and be curious about what is good about them. Amen. All right, have a great week, everyone.